What is going on, you guys? All right, I just wrapped a really fun episode. I had 2 clients on that have been with me for about 4 years. It's funny, I met them on TikTok. We address trusting the process, what it was like before they decided to change their lifestyle. You'll see both of their transformations on my Instagram, and I'll highlight those for you too. You can't miss it. It's unbelievable, the transformations they've made with both lifestyle. They quit drinking. They're in there. One is 54, one is 49. They have aged in reverse, built incredible physiques, gotten healthier, changed their lifestyle. It's been amazing. So I took them through that journey. They walked us through their mindset, what it took to get them in the gym from total sedentary to complete gym rats. And just the influence they've had on each other. And I love that. It's just absolutely normal women getting incredible results when they applied themselves to it. And I think you'll enjoy hearing the story. And then also we talked a little bit about how you get through the holidays and how they're going to how they think about it, and, their plan to get through Thanksgiving and certainly the next 4 weeks through the holiday season. So hopefully you enjoy this. I hope it helps. You know where to find me. Always reach out for help. Download my app, download the nutrition app, and please, please, please rate the show, share the show, and reach out anytime. Did you say okie dokie artichoke?
I did.
I feel like...
Well, you said okie dokie. I said artichoke.
Oh, artichoke. Okay. That's my new favorite saying. Welcome to the Strong Life podcast. Thank you guys for jumping in here. I've got Michelle and Joelle. Today we are I really wanted to have this episode because, I will often do an episode before the holidays that's like how to get through the holidays, which is great. It's helpful, it gets people on track, but I thought it would be even more interesting to have you jump in and give your experience about how you would execute the holidays. That sounds so formal, but get through the holidays now versus when you first kind of started with me. So a little bit of background. We met on social media. It was TikTok, right? Was it the old TikTok? Are you over 40?
Yeah, that's how I found you. Yeah.
Yeah. So we met on TikTok, and that makes us sound like we're teenagers, but that's where we met. Sorry. And then we had, you started the process, downloaded the app, just started tracking your food, and just became kind of part of the Team Strong Life community for sure. I think you're some of the originals. But the reason I have you here today is because I do so much of this myself, and people are like craving hearing from others about how they actually changed. And for those of you listening, and you will find both Michelle and Joelle on my Instagram. You can see the actual transformations, and maybe we'll be able to throw them up here in this episode. But so welcome, girls.
Thank you.
Hi. Now you're super fuzzy, Joelle.
Perfect.
Like, as soon as I hit record, you went.
Awesome.
I don't know what happened. Yeah.
That's the
Just trust me. It's Joelle.
Yes, it is. Wow.
Yes. If you want a clear picture, you'll have to go on to social media.
That sucks. Whatever.
Oh, well, that's technology. So we obviously, and this is for both of you. So I know we talked about this earlier. Just feel free to jump in as you need to and you feel inspired. But can you talk a little bit about life between you two before and keep it clean? Oh gosh.
Wow.
You were drinking buddies. Let's just start there. Okay. So talk a little bit about life before you decided to make the changes that you made with me like 4 years ago.
Wow. Well, so Michelle is my neighbor, like 3 houses down. So that's been very always been very convenient to just hop
Yeah, let's
over.
just paint the picture here.
Hop over,
Yeah.
and we used to call them porch parties. We would
Mhm.
be on her back porch or my back porch or the neighbor's back porch, someone's back porch. We would be on it, and we would just be having our wine and just, shooting the shit. But yeah, I mean, so that was us back then.
Yeah. Yeah. We always found a common reason to kind of connect on the porch over some wine, whether it was, letting the dogs play or checking out the new trampoline. We've had some fun on the trampolines.
Or a random Tuesday. I mean,
Or random Tuesday, yeah. But yeah, I would say I think there was one Thanksgiving, one time that we did a 5K at a winery.
Oh, yes.
And we did the 5K just because we were going to get the wine. Remember that?
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
so interesting. Right. I always wondered, like, why somebody would that never made sense to me. Even the beer mile, all those things. I'm just like, what? I do think there's this sort of, you're balancing it out a little bit. And Michelle, can you come in any closer to your, yeah. So we can, come on in.
I think it was for charity too. I think that was our other thing. We were always like, oh, it's for charity.
Yeah.
We'll do the cider run. We'll do the we did the cider run.
We did
too.
do the cider run. Yep.
Yeah, anything with that was alcohol related. But I mean, we had a good time, and we still go out to those places. It's just now
we're dry
instead of drinking a lot. Yeah, we have our sparkling non-alcoholic drinks, and we dance. I mean, we still have a great time, and
you wouldn't know the difference, really.
You really
I know. It's amazing. It's impressive.
Yeah.
So when you were in that, sort of before you got healthier, because I think you could argue, even though you both weren't we're not talking about morbid obesity here, but it's pretty unhealthy, I would say, especially at our age. Like, I think that you two come to mind as people who just absolutely are living in a much healthier body than you were.
Yeah.
Was health motivating you at all, or what kind of motivated you to kick off making the change? Because Michelle came to me first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Michelle found you on TikTok. I found you through Michelle, who I remember we were out walking the neighborhood, and she kept telling me about this woman who she started following on TikTok, and how, her workout style kind of reminded Michelle of what I've done. And she was just like, you should come, you just join. I was like, no. Like, I just
skeptical. She was very skeptical.
I was very skeptical.
Yeah. Have you looked into their credentials?
Right. It's like, is she legit? I mean, come on.
She was protecting me. She was looking after me. She's like, you better look into them. I don't like this.
Right. Because to me.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That makes it even better.
Well, to me, it was just like another Facebook fitness group, and I was just like, well, and now this was on TikTok, and I was just like, and I didn't have TikTok at the time, because it was banned from my house because of my kids. And so I don't know. So it was on that walk, and, and I was still like, I don't know, but I remember it was cold out, so it was around that winter time. And then I guess maybe a few weeks later, I was like, all right, I'll give it a go and see, because I just didn't like who I saw in the mirror anymore, and I've always been healthy, I've tracked food before, I used my Fitness Pal, And I was going to one of those like nutrition places, you know, where you got on like the InBody and you did the scan. Everything was called 5-Star Nutrition here in Charlottesville. They've since closed. So, and you know, I would get like
0-star nutrition.
Right,
now.
exactly. I mean, I don't know why. It kind of makes you wonder why they closed. But I would get like supplements there, and but it just wasn't working for me, because even though I was told by my consultant there, you know, hey, track your food, you know, do the, you know, he gave me my macros and everything. He didn't really know me, you know, he didn't really know my lifestyle. I just met him at the store, you know? So I just wasn't seeing any changes, and I was just like, well, screw this. This isn't working. I'm just going to continue, you know, and he never told me to cut out wine or alcohol. So I was still doing that. So I was just like, well, this isn't working. So, I knew then I needed to change something. So then that's when I was just like, well, all right, I'll give Michelle's Girl a try.
It's so interesting because I often put myself in the shoes of like you guys and think, I wonder what it would take for me to like fully invest in, you know, trust somebody who I'd never met, who's online, who like, but you can get a pretty good sense of people on social media. If you follow them long enough, you'll just find, I think you'll find something like there's some authenticity, or there's consistency. Like there's lots of people that I feel, you know, like I would hire them based on everything I've seen. I would trust what they tell me. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's cool that you actually pull the trigger and you know, and it's not like this huge investment either. Like to get in the app at the time is, you know, what's it, $13 a month? It's not like it's millions of dollars, which is also kind of suspect, probably. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I mean,
you just seemed very authentic. You were very, like, the way that you would talk on your lives and stuff, it didn't seem rehearsed. It didn't seem posed. You know, I was never like following other fitness people or anything like that. Like I was literally like drinking wine, bored, scrolling TikTok, and like your thing popped up. I don't even know how. Like I guess that's just how that app worked at the time. Maybe it still does. I don't use it, but it's just like I was going from funny animals and funny little like dance things to like you.
Yeah, I don't know that TikTok served up it like served up the algorithm.
Yeah.
I feel like every woman over 40 got that it was like, you know, that's what was going viral at the time. It was like every over 40 woman, it's like nobody had ever heard perimenopause spoken before,
right,
or something like that. It was like, what? And actually, like, it was kind of new at the time. Like, no, we weren't, like, Dr. Mary Claire wasn't there. Like, there.
Well, and I think that was the connection, too.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was right, like, how old was I when I joined? I was like 49, I guess. Like, it was before I was 50. So when
it was before you were 50. Yeah.
And so I was just having a lot of crazy mood swings and, you know, all the premenopause stuff. And like that was definitely a connection with you where it was like, wow, this woman's saying things that I never even thought about, you know, and you were just like, you know, I still have the video. Like I have it on my phone. Just, I don't know, like I'll look back at it every now and then just to remind myself why I do what I do if I'm having a tough moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, you were just like, you know, put the wine down. It can't be any colder where you are. Because you were like in Maine walking.
Yeah.
Totally bundle that.
Yeah.
And you're like, just get out and walk. And I was like, okay.
Let's
go for a walk. This lady's told me to walk.
Yeah. And I think you came at the right time, too, because I think it was during the pandemic and everyone was just kind of stuck at home and just eating and binge drinking and watching TV and not being very active because the gyms were closed and all this stuff. So I think that was it was good timing for, I think.
Yeah, I often ask myself, like, would that happen again now?
Right.
And it's like, no, that was a moment in time that was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just we had everybody's attention, and now it's way more watered down now, obviously, with other people, but so that was an interesting time for all of us, who started Team Strong Life, and you who joined in there and then just watched it kind of explode. And I think that it you two quickly, I feel like quickly grabbed a hold of all of the components that it takes to change your lifestyle and just kind of did it. Does it feel like that to you? No.
I mean,
I know. Well, that's why we're here. Yeah. So that you can say what it really freaking feels like.
Well, for me, I was completely inactive. I did not go to the gym. If I went to the gym, it was just to walk on the treadmill, and that was enough.
That's right.
And in connecting with Joelle, I went to a couple, I guess she talked, well, did I go as your guest, Joelle, or something? What happened? Remember the class I went to?
I think you were a member. You were a member, and I remember, and we were doing a small group training with Teresa, and I was like, Michelle, you got to come, just come try it out. It was just a group of maybe 4 or 5 of us.
Yeah.
And
I was like, I can't do it.
And Michelle just
You're spinning balls and all this stuff.
I've sat down. She just sat down on the floor, just what are you doing? Just get up. She's like, I can't do it. I was like, oh, well.
Yeah.
Can't.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like I was going to faint. My heart rate's jacked up. I'm dying right here, right now. Whether it was a panic episode or just whatever it was, it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was done. I was just
yep.
I was done.
Yeah.
And, but I never worked out at the gym, and, at least with weights, I was never going to be lifting weights ever. Just wasn't going to do that. I would do maybe some Pilates, a lot of yoga,
a lot of yoga. So were you not going to do that intentionally? I'm just not going to do, because obviously we were there for your big re-entry into the gym, but what was your
I think that, in hindsight now, it was definitely a confidence thing. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
But I didn't know that's what it was at the time. Yeah. It was just no, that's not for me. But now when I look back at some of the layers, it's that was totally a confidence thing. And, I still get like that every now and then. And it's just a little hesitant to pick up some heavier weights, I still have a stare down with the barbells, I'll see a heavier weight looking at me, and I'm like, no, I deserve feedback.
Well, and I think also with Michelle, going by the confidence thing, the gym that we both started out at here. You've been there, Kendra. It's a massive gym. It's overwhelming. You got 3 pools, a spa, a cafe, a huge weight room, a basketball court. Everything is there. So, and there's a lot of people there. So I think that's where the confidence thing kind of held Michelle back.
Yeah. And I would see
overwhelming.
I would see people in the weight area, and I just didn't feel like I belonged there. I was I don't look like they do. I don't know the things they know. I just don't belong there.
Yeah.
So that part for me was very slow. The nutrition part, it took me I was with NTSL for a full year before I actually went into the gym to pick up heavier weights.
Yep. Yeah.
And started feeling confident in that, and then just kind of building and learning how to be disciplined to continue doing that. And I can't say that I've arrived, but it feels like I've arrived, because it's now I'll have different things come up with work and errands and all this stuff, and instead of brushing it off, it's okay, where do I fit my gym time in? And I'll go. And this morning I went a little earlier than I really wanted to go, but it's just what had to be done, and it was fine. It wasn't.
It's so wild to think about a leap from I'm not going to the gym to
right.
So that's what's so fascinating to me. Because it's so like when I did that when I was 23 and or 22, and how everything is easier when you're younger. Like it's just different, I don't know if it's easier, but then you get all these years of like this sort of, idea of the gym and experiences with going to the gym and feeling embarrassed and then you have to get back in. It just blows my mind that at this age you can go totally sedentary, basically, to now I know how you are at the gym. It's so incredible to me. And I don't think, I don't like, even when I go to the gym now, like, and I watch, how it is, like there's usually a bunch of women on it just is, they're on the elliptical, and men too, but and I feel like I know what they're thinking and what they're doing and what they want, but what they want is down on the floor,
right,
where the weights are. Ultimately, like what they need is there.
Yeah.
And I always think like, how do I get them? I could go bear hug and then like bring them down to the weight room, but like, how does somebody make that leap? So I need to dig into that with you.
I feel like for me, how
did you make how did you make the first step? I mean, literally.
The first step to go into the gym?
Yes.
To go into the gym. Well, I had been friends with Joelle. And she never really mentioned, maybe a few times, like, let's go. But she wasn't like, she wasn't trying to like preach it to me. She was just living her lifestyle. And I was watching it and, in some ways being a part of it by seeing her and her growth and, along for the ride when she would hit PRs and different things like that. And I was in awe of that. I was like, holy cow, like, that would be awesome to be able to do that, but that's not who I am, and that's okay. But I think that just like it's like that circle, the fish bowl theory, it's like who your friends are, who you surround yourself with, it really matters. And thankfully she was around and I didn't know that I needed that little extra subliminal push for me, as far as the gym aspect goes. So that's kind of like behind the scenes. It's like, hey, Joelle, I want to go do this. And she was always like, no, I got to go to the gym. No, I got to go to the gym. No, I got to go to the gym.
Now, Joelle, were you thinking, like, when you go to the gym, are you thinking, like, I want to get bigger muscles? Like, back then, were you like, I want to grow my muscles? Were you like, this is where I'm going to lose weight? Were you like, because you weren't where you wanted to be necessarily with your physique, but you were still going?
I was going thinking, okay, yes, this is where I'm going to like lose weight, get stronger. And it just wasn't happening because I didn't know. I mean, like, you don't know what you don't know. Like, so I didn't know I had to start, really in the kitchen. I mean, I would eat what I want, because I would just go work it out the next day. I was working. I mean, my workouts were based on like what I ate the day before. And because and I wore a watch and, I burned, 900 calories. I'm going to go feed myself those 900 calories back in one meal,
right.
Because I worked out.
Right.
And that, and for me, I mean, I was, how I think they call it like, I don't know. I was like, how they call it like skinny fat or I don't know, something like that. I was like, I was like strong, but I wasn't where I wanted to be. Like I was overweight, but I was strong. Yeah. But I knew that, but I would get winded a lot, and I just didn't want to feel that way anymore. And that, and I just wasn't making the progress. But I mean, but like I never gave up. I never quit. I was always going to the gym, working off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whatever.
You have a bad connection.
Yeah, I had a very bad connection with food.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You have a bad connection.
I have a bad connection but no, I did have a bad connection with food. Yeah.
I don't know if my podcast editor has the skills to deal with this shit. Sorry. Cut that out, rewind that, reverse that, please. Sorry about that. It was me.
Leave it to me to
okay.
mess it up.
Well, let's talk about your connection with food.
Yes.
No, but I get that. I think that's, I've been there where you're sort of you're not where you want to be, but you're thinking this workout and then I'm going to change some behavior and change some habits. I was wondering if that's what you were thinking. There's that saying, I wake up every day on a diet and go to bed every day a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if you were in that cycle, were you going, okay, today's the day, I'm going to burn it off and then I'm not going to eat. And then I'm going to, what was that cycle like for you guys?
Well, yeah. I mean, when I was going to that nutrition place, I was buying the fat burners and the muscle gaining stuff or whatever. And, and sure that worked a little bit, but I still wasn't managing my food properly. And honestly, along the lines of having a bad connection with food, I think I also had a bad connection with the gym, to a point, because I would just go in there and I knew what I was going to do, but I did so much of it, as I was overtraining, and it just wasn't working to my, to my advantage. So.
Yeah, so you were sort of overtraining, and I do work with a lot of women like that too, who go to the gym and it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating for them, especially people who go to the gym and aren't where they want to be, because it's just, it's a matter of macros. It's like, if you already go to the gym and you already lift weights and you already have that habit and you're not where you want to be, we need to deal with the food, the food and the alcohol, that is it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, yeah, I mean, there's so much there. And to your point, you don't know what you don't know. I just was on the phone with a woman, she's a new client, but kind of talking about that idea that you just don't stay with it long enough because the results don't come. So then you're like, well, I'm probably not doing this right. And then you could sort of look for some other way, and then you maybe try that. And then your neighbor's like, I'm doing this thing. And then you try that. And then you're just sort of, you just never, maybe any one of those things would have worked with nutrition, but you just don't give it what it needs, the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
so,
when you had asked Michelle earlier about, did she just go all in all at once, and she's like, not really. I mean, for me, I think I went balls to the wall and I was just like, this is it. I'm just going to do what Kendra tells me. And, and at first, you told me, you said, just cut down on the wine. So I did. I cut down on the wine. Instead of drinking, having a glass or 3 or 4 every night, I would maybe have, a glass of wine every other night or something.
Yeah.
Until I was just like, well, you know what? I'm just going to see what happens if I just knock it out altogether. And I did quit cold turkey and decided I'm just not going to have any wine before, after my girls go to bed. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to find something else, and I did. And we just never looked back from that. So.
Right. Actually, and we should say you have children, grown children.
Yeah.
We're up there in age. I think Michelle, wait, you're
Mine
53.
Yeah, I'm 50. Wait, yeah, I'm 54. I'm 53. I'm 54.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I am. It's 2024. I was born in 1970. That's how I keep track.
Wow.
Wait.
No,
yeah.
What about you, Joelle? 40?
I'm 49.
You're getting close.
I'm getting close. Yep.
Michelle still isn't sure. She's still not sure. I can see it in her face.
I don't think she's 54. I don't think she's
really
54, but maybe she is. I don't know.
Oh,
I
September.
can't math.
The way, I remember my birthday because I remember my brothers, and then I remember that I'm just under 2 years younger, and that's how I remember
I
mine.
guess so, Michelle, because you're 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
Oh, you guess so? Oh, because she is now?
I guess she's right about her age. I had to do the math.
Yeah.
It's a fact checker.
Oh, you are, because this is why.
It's like gym math. It's like
your logic of being born in 1970 wasn't enough.
Right, exactly. I was 75, so yeah.
Right. A better way to look at it is how many years older. I actually used to think there's all these people now that like Kenny Claiborne's 52. I used to think he was so much older than me. And he's 1 year. I was like, whoa. I thought he was like, not, it was because I was like 48 and he was 50 or something like. So I was like, whoa, I'm not 50, and now I'm like, damn.
Yeah,
wow,
the number
51
50 is weird. It's like.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's
because
weird.
It's not how I thought it was going to be. It's so much better. Like, it's so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, I sort of toggle back and forth with feeling like I have full acceptance of it. And I'm also just like, what? Like, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it means, but.
Yeah.
All right. So we go. So, Michelle, we've talked before. I sometimes forget that you were, kind of observing for a while in the fitness side of things, because it's just so, now it's like muscle selfies,
Never thought that would happen. Will's been doing like Flex Friday for like 10 years.
Yeah, no.
It's like, yeah,
it's wild. It's so wild to see.
Yeah.
So, okay. So how long do you feel like it took you to see changes once you really started adhering to your macros, Michelle? Like, how long was it?
It did take me a good 6 months to like grasp the whole thing of macros.
Okay, that's fair.
It just took me time. And I remember being on a live with you or something, or maybe it was a 8-week check-in call. And I had asked you a question and you said, well, let's look at it now. And it was like how to meet my macros. And so I read you what I had done and you said, well, just throw an apple in there and then you meet your carbs. And I was like, oh, like something so easy. But at the time, it just didn't, because when I saw carbs, all I thought was, well, I'm not allowed to have any donuts, or I'm not allowed to have any potato chips. Like I didn't think about fruit.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, it took me a while for that. But once I really adhered to the macros, and even though I wasn't at the first year I was in TSL, I was not at a gym. I was at home, like lifting weights. I remember Joelle actually bought me a kettlebell and she laughed. She's like, you can do more than 15 pounds. I'm like, no, 15 pounds is good. Like, give me the 15 pound
absolutely
kettlebell.
not. Yeah.
But, I would do those and ab workouts, and I would wake up and do Heidi's workouts. And, I think like I won like one of the challenges soon thereafter. So it's like adhering and following your program. Like, it worked for me, and just following simple like instructions. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
No, I mean,
I'll let you say. Like,
well, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, okay, maybe there are. It really is just that simple. Like, if you start working with me and we set you off in a path, just keep going on that path.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing, is like, it's not like you guys had to have one-on-one coaching, which is actually really important for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like that. But you guys just hit the macros, did the challenges, and just kept kind of showing up. And it still, to this day, surprises me when people do that on their own. I kind of can't believe it.
Yeah. And I think, too, like, during that particular 8-week challenge in the fall, it's the one where, like, I think a few different people, like, me and Mary kind of won, like, at the same time. Like, there were, and, like, part of the prize package was going, being able to go to First Form. And so that was a huge incentive for me, because at the time I didn't belong to a gym, and I was like, well, if I'm going to go to a gym, it's going to be with these ladies, there, and then I'll go to a gym. It was kind of like a weird journey to kind of get myself to the gym. But soon thereafter, like, I outgrew my weights at home, and I think you did like a live on that too. And that's when I was like, okay, I've got to go.
You got to go. Yeah.
If I'm going to continue this and I want to grow into this lifestyle, I've got to change. Like, nothing changes until something changes. So that's kind of what it was for me. It was like a full year thing. And I was at my super leanest by the end of that first year. And then I maintained for a good 7, 8, 9 months. And then my daughter got married, and it was like, damn, I didn't have to be one of those people that was like, I need to lose weight for a wedding. Like, it was already, in the works. But it felt so good to feel good again. It felt good to not feel sluggish. It felt good to have energy. It felt good to, like, and it still feels good to, like, just emotionally be available for, like, my husband and my friends, my family. And like 4 years ago, when we were talking about like 4 years ago versus now, 4 years ago, I cannot say that I was 100% emotionally available for friends, family, my husband, that kind of thing, because I prioritized different hobbies.
Yeah.
And now, I prioritize myself, but in a healthy way that balances out, leading into like a healthier lifestyle. And I just feel like I have the enjoyment of having like a sense of control over like who I am. And whether that's with food, alcohol, lifting, anything like that. Like, if I incorporate those things and I stick with what I know works for me, I'm just a better person overall. And I look better too.
Also that.
Well, so
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like that too. You get the, I don't know, there's something liberating about building a structure for yourself and then living within it. It's like this code, of just, these are the things I do. This is the code I live by. This is how I, and, you and I have talked recently too, Michelle, about like, you're like, I'm not doing the things. And it doesn't feel as good. Like, discipline feels really good, Yeah. It really does.
Well, it's interesting because I took a picture, I took a picture of myself recently for the app, like for the, the challenge or whatever. And I compared it to the last time that I took a picture in the app, which was August 17th, because I kind of took a little hiatus. And it's not horrible. Like, the weight gain is not horrible. It's like it was like a poop, like you say, like 5 pounds. But visually, you can see a little, difference here and there.
Yeah.
And it's like, dang, okay, like with Kendra, without Kendra.
Yeah, kind of messy.
Messy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I'm very mindful of like what I eat, and I can do the maintenance thing just fine. But, it does feel really good when I fuel my body for what I want it to do. And what I want it to do is to be able to perform in a gym.
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel weak. I don't want to feel winded. I want to be able to go to Lowe's and not have anybody help me with my bag of mulch or whatever. So
yeah, right. Yeah, that's the functional nature of, like, I mean, all fitness is functional, I guess, but it's like, those are the little things, like, when you're on the journey, you might not see the scale move down huge, but it's like, I always say, you go to Lowe's and you're like, holy shit, I can lift this mulch into that thing. And you're like, did anybody see that?
Right.
Anybody? No?
There's always a camera. There's always a camera.
Yeah.
Pull the tape, please. I want to record it.
We were doing the home renovation, and I had to pick up some wood. I don't even know, just long, big wood, and I was carrying it out in the little blue trolley thing and loading it in my car, and this man came up, and it's like he wasn't even going to ask me. He just started almost like just helping me, and I was like, "No, I've got this." Like, that felt so empowering to say, like, because number one, like, shady stuff happens at our Lowe's in the parking lot. It's connected to Walmart. I don't know if I can say that. But,
well, you just did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, but yeah, I didn't need anybody helping me. I didn't need anybody putting stuff in my car. Like, I've got this, you know, but yeah, that felt really good to do that. And 4 years ago, I would not have done that. I would not. I would have been like, somebody has to help me. I wouldn't have even wheeled the thing through the store. Like, I've done it.
Right. And you know that. I think sometimes I think about, like, if I don't take care of myself now, I will be somebody else's problem. Like, I will be somebody else's burden to take care of, you know, like. Listen, there will be things that happen that we can't help, but like, I was out playing pickleball with this woman in her 80s the other day, just, you know, still moving, and she was, you know, definitely kind of limpy, but like, you know, she had all this muscle, she was super lean, she, you know, I was blown away, and it's like, I know we're quite a ways from that, and sometimes I can get dramatic with the age thing. It's been pointed out to me recently. But
time goes fast.
But it just does. It's like, I don't know where the last 25 years went, never mind where the next 25 are going to go, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think, you know, whenever you feel like the scale isn't moving, you know, even I, you know, like somebody will be like, oh, look at this line here, you know, like little things. You can't see me if, you know, unless you're watching, but like just little lines on your arms and little things like that's incredible to see that kind of growth, you know. I remember when I first started lifting weights, I was driving an automatic, and I was in my early 20s. I've mentioned that. And I went to shift, and I like noticed my whole arm looked totally different, just like that. Like it seemed like overnight. It hadn't. I remember it was about 12 weeks of lifting, and I could feel that it felt different, but then I could start to see it. And then I was just like absolutely sold on, you know, lifting weights and growing muscle and definition and that kind of thing. And I was like, wow, that is so cool that it works, you know?
I get excited. Not if I see a vein popping out. I was like, look at that vein. Look at that vein. Step, you know,
right?
You know,
right. Well, because now you've achieved a level of leanness, a level of muscle that, you know, just those are fun, you know, especially if you go to the gym and you work hard. And we all know what it's like to go to the gym and be kind of spinning your wheels. And now you know what to do.
And for me, like my first year, like I was noticing small changes throughout that first year. But I remember it was that December 31st when I took my final picture of that year, I guess maybe 2022, maybe, I think. And I was like, wow. I was just like, that's when I really noticed from day one to, which was like January 9th, I think, of that year, to December 31st. And I was like, there's no stopping now, you know, and I just kept going and going and going. And then I guess it was like the next year you added in, I guess it was last year that you added in the core challenge?
Yeah,
last year.
January 1st, 2024. Yeah, that's wild.
And that was when I was just like, wow. I mean, because I hated core. Like I didn't want, you know, because I always read like, well, you can't really spot reduce, you know, in your stomach or whatever, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, well, I'm just not going to do core. I'll just brace myself whenever I lift the weight, you know, and maybe that'll help, you know, but honestly, but like when you did your studies and stuff like that, and you said that there is a way that doing these core exercises, it can help with the definition. And like after that gosh, I think it was even after that first 8-week, of the core challenge, I noticed the difference.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is
wow.
cool. It's like, never knew
well,
like
actually,
abs underneath here.
She's like, I don't have abs. I never have had abs. I'm like, well, you do now.
You do. Like, you have them. Yeah.
Where were they my whole life?
Right. Well, you think of abs as any other muscle that need to be stimulated to grow. And I was also encouraged to do these challenges, and I'll just keep whatever they are. Let's call them 8-week programs. They're not that different from one another. And I do need to get some new exercises on there for fun. But like Dr. Campbell called up this spot reducing belly fat, basically abdomen adipose tissue, just because like the endurance nature of would be high reps. So strength endurance is anything over 30 reps, or 15 to 30 reps. So that's covered in this kind of higher rep approach. And I'm telling you, it's like, there has to be something there, right? Like it's like spot reduction feels like it should make sense to me. And so when it's like, it can't be done, you're like, I know, but it feels like doesn't it feel like you would have this muscle that would be like sort of burning under your layer of subcutaneous fat under the skin. And like somehow that would just like eat up the fat or something like that like, totally doesn't happen.
But if I'm not going to see a muscle.
Right. But you will see a muscle, but I think it's just the nature, like it, you improve metabolism through strength training, you improve metabolism through building muscle. And then in the abdomen, it's like, I was the same way too. Like I lift heavy, I brace, I do all the things, but until I actually just attacked it consistently, which just like, I'd never really done that. And then I was like, oh, look, you get a 6-pack. Huh. Okay. It's not like it happened overnight. It's months and months. And it's the diet too, the level of leanness also. And for me, it's the first thing to go. I can tell you that. Like if I'm going to gain body fat, it's the first thing to go, which is fine. Like it's fine if you can get it back, if you maintain the muscle there and work on nutrition. And now you guys know how to pull the levers. Like it's just a matter of like, whoop, got to clean up a little bit. Oop, okay, you could probably even take the same approach with any body part. Like I was like, I want to grow my hamstrings. I haven't done shit to do that. But, like that's all it would take is I would say 1 year, I'm going to hit that body part and it's going to grow. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty amazing the results that, that I've seen in myself, just from doing the core challenge, and I would keep up with it in between challenges. So like I just wouldn't stop. I would just kind of incorporate some of yours and then some other core exercises too that, because I actually like the cable core stuff where rope, with the rope, and then like the twisting, with the rope.
There's so many good ones.
So many good ones. Yeah. Wind chops and stuff, even with the cable. I mean, I like that little circuit too. But yeah, I mean, and as I said, like I've never really done core. Like even after like a lift, when you're supposed to like stretch and do core, whatever, I never did it. I always just skipped that, because I was like, well, it's not going to work. But now I just make it. It's a part of my routine now. It's a part of it's habitual now. So as soon as I finish my lift, I do my core, and then I go take a walk on the treadmill or something. So
right. So crazy.
It is.
So when you made the jump from so now if we go back, you've dialed into your nutrition, you're both at the gym, Michelle wins a challenge, Joelle, well, you've done the same thing. It's been pretty incredible to see it's not, I mean, for me, the transformation is cool, but the maintenance over time is really cool. Like when the year over year goes by, it's like, well, there's like no chance that you're going to go back now. Yeah. I mean, that's so far in the rear view mirror, but I've worked with a lot of people who they don't get it far enough behind them. You know, they sort of go, oh, I've arrived. And it's like, oh, no, the hardest part is ahead now, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely.
What do you think's made it stick? Well, go ahead. You can.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, it's definitely the maintaining that is hard. I mean, it's easy to lose the weight. It's easy to gain weight, but the hardest thing is the maintaining, because you really have to have that discipline. I mean, motivation can come and go, but if you have that discipline, then it's just you know, becomes a habit. It's your lifestyle.
Can you hear him?
Yeah.
Even when I'm muting you?
Oh, no.
Oh. Okay. This is like, sorry for the, record. Hey, come here. I'm muting. You can keep talking.
What are we talking about again, Joelle?
What's they saying? No,
discipline.
I was saying it became a habit now. So,
oh yeah,
like just the maintaining.
Oh right,
with the discipline and stuff. It's just like, oh, it's between 9:30 and 10. I'm gonna go to the gym now.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've had some like almost little slips, like enjoying some indulgences with food and that kind of thing, and like multiple times a week. And it's just like, wait a minute, let's put the brakes on here, because this isn't going to end well.
Well, and then like on those lines, like leading up to Thanksgiving and Christmas, and this whole season is all about food. All about food and family and friends and community and stuff like that. And it's just like all the pressures are going to be there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because one of the things I was talking to a client about today was this idea that, I said, how's Thanksgiving Day going to be? And she was like, well, that's not really the problem. Like, I'll eat Thanksgiving meal. It will be great. It's not like crazy. It's going to be all of the other little, that's not it. Like, yes, go indulge on Thanksgiving. I will, and I don't want to eat myself into like that place that's so uncomfortable, and I don't do that anymore. Sometimes that can happen if you're crazy deprived, but like it's not going to be that. It's going to be you just start picking at little things here and there. And, unless you are just you have like a full binge issue, which people do, many people, you have night eating, many people do. But the holiday is about the accumulation of all the little things. You know what I mean? Like a few hundred extra calories every single day for a month can get you 10 pounds. I mean, it really can. Like, I've had people gain 10 pounds in the month of December, and it kicks off in Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
My plan is just to like have a normal week of what I normally would eat, and a normal day Thanksgiving morning when I get up, and because we're not eating till later in the evening, like a dinner. And so like, I'm just gonna not starve myself. Like in the past, I would have just been like, oh no, we're having a big dinner. Oh no, we're having a big dinner. And that doesn't work for me. I mean, so
oh no, we're having a big dinner. Like, I'm not going to eat.
Exactly. Like, I would basically fast. Like, even the day before, I'd be like, I'd hardly eat anything. You know what I mean? Until Thanksgiving Day. And then I'd be like, okay, now I'm allowed to eat like food.
Which is so interesting, because so weird, the way right? Well, I mean, maybe that's thinking, oh, I'm going to make all this room and then I'm going to have all these calories. But another way to go into it, moderate, even going out to dinner, is to have a normal day, so you're not starving.
That's exactly what I plan on doing,
right? Because then you end up going way over. It's just not enjoyable when you're in that place where you're like, you're gonna unleash yourself on food, you know what I mean? That's just sucks. It's like, it doesn't now that we're sitting,
I used to do that. Like, I think back and I'm like, God, like it's just painful.
Yeah, like I don't want to eat anything. So, well, I mean, I don't know. There's probably 10 million people doing that. Like I'm not going to eat anything so I can, but you don't really even get to eat more. You just feel way worse.
Right.
You know?
Well, it's really interesting because I feel like I'm hosting this year, and so I've got kind of a little bit of control over the menu and that kind of thing. But there's still going to be all that added, like sugars and the butters and the richness. But it's like I'm going to pick my battles. Like I already know that like I'm going to, maybe have a little bit of mashed potatoes, but maybe not the candied sweet potatoes or whatever, just because I'd rather have pie. Like if I'm going to have sugar and dessert, I'd rather have a really good, homemade apple pie than this sweet potato that's posing as a vegetable that's really just sugar. It's brown sugar and it's just candy.
Right.
It's dessert.
So
it's
good.
It's really dessert.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Right. It's just not for me. Like I just know it's not going to be worth it. Like I haven't put it in the app yet, but I've kind of mentally already decided what I'm going to be having for my dinner that night.
Although I'm going to eat the sweet potato casserole. That is
you should.
That's my given. That's a given. I love sweet potato casserole. I said it's only I don't get it, and only on Thanksgiving. I'm going to eat it. Damn it.
There's definitely like
with the marshmallows and the pecan.
Yeah. Right. Like, it is my favorite. It's my favorite holiday on every level. Like family, warmth, where we are. It's beautiful. It's like I'm just so happy to be eating this amazing food. It's feeling grateful. It's just it's so many things. But it's like I hate getting myself to the point where I'm so uncomfortable. So the key for me is always like, don't touch the apps. Just don't touch, like there's cheese, there's things like that. Just go sit down hungry. Maybe I will throw a protein shake in before I go. So I am not starving and I'm not getting to the point where I'm sick and I'm like, but Thanksgiving is just one of those things like, just go for it. It's not that's not the day that one day is no big deal.
Right.
Like you cannot take any steps backwards on that one day.
Right.
Like, really.
Right.
I mean, I'm going into it looking, and as I have like last year too, I go in looking at it like, okay, Thanksgiving dinner. Well, you got turkey. That's your protein. You got maybe some, like potatoes, that's your carb, and like some fats, like it's all balanced, and I mean, as long as you don't like put mounds and mounds and mounds on your plate, then I mean,
and even then, and I mean, the scale's going to go up for sure the next day. Like that's going to be in response to excess carbohydrates, potentially salt, sugar. Like the scale will go up, but it doesn't mean you put on. I just had to have this conversation with a client, which she knew this, but it was more like, just remember that just on Thursday, the scale was here. Today it's a pound or whatever. Monday it was here. Today it's a pound higher. You didn't gain 1 pound of body fat in a day. Like to gain a pound of body fat, you would have had to have overeaten by 3,500 4,000 calories. You didn't do that.
There's just no reason to weigh yourself after Thanksgiving.
That's what I'm saying. Like just give yourself a week of stabilizing, getting things back to normal. Don't torture yourself like that, because then you get the case of the to hell with it or F it's or whatever, and you bleed into the next day. So do you two see yourself bleeding into the next day? Like, has that been hard for you as you've, kind of changed things in your life? Leftovers? Are you picking at the pies? Or are you saying like, how do you approach that?
I don't like leftovers. So, I mean, maybe like I don't like turkey leftovers. I mean, I'm not even a big huge turkey fan because I think it's very bland and dry to me. But
not with gravy.
Well, not with gravy. But I don't like the. I'm not a gravy person either. So it's just like, but like I'm not big on like a turkey sandwich or whatever. Like the next day, like I like the big drumstick, and that's what I'll eat. But then again, like I don't really like I'm not a fan of leftovers. Like I'll eat that day, and then I'm like, all right, I'm done with it. I don't want it anymore. Like I'm sick of it. So
okay, so if there's a pie out, you're not gonna pick at that.
Again, I'm not a huge pie person. I mean,
Dessert.
All right.
Dessert.
a
If there's
dessert. Well, dessert. I mean, like my mom will probably, because we're going to my parents' house, and my mom will probably, bake cookies, for the girls and stuff. And of course we'll bring cookies home. And yeah, I mean, I might have a cookie, but
okay.
again,
So all right. So all that aside, this isn't basically what I'm hearing is we're gonna enjoy Thanksgiving, and then you just sort of get right back to your regular old lifestyle.
I'm back to normal the next day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to the gym in the morning and go about, and I'll track my food again. I'll have like stuff that I got from the grocery store before Thanksgiving. Like my rotisserie chicken or my shrimp or whatever, and I'll just pick right back up after Thanksgiving.
How important is tracking for you guys to maintaining?
It's very important. I have come to.
Yeah. I do it like nonstop now. It kind of drives my husband crazy that he's like, why you keep measuring everything out? I'm like, well, it's habits. It's become a habit. It's like I just do it.
Yeah.
And
okay, so measuring for me is important too. I don't have to do it all the time. Yeah. Well, 1,000,000%. I always say this: if I have a fat loss goal, I'm tracking my food. There's no way. I can't even say I just eat the same thing every day. For some reason, if I don't take accountability for it and account for it and see it and track it, I will do 2 tablespoons of peanut butter instead of 1. Yeah. I will have and that is how it will happen for me. It won't be I went to McDonald's. It will be slowly I started, with a couple of ounces of cheese instead of 1. And next thing you know, I'm at, 30 grams of fat over what I need. And I'm at, 400 calories more. And it's not much. It doesn't take much. It's not like I overate like a crazy woman. Yeah. It's just easy to do, you know?
I'm just not good at eyeballing. So I can't really eyeball anything. I have to have my tablespoon. I have to have all my measuring cups, my little kitchen scale. It is what it is for me.
Well, and it's worked for you both. So it's like you go back to what works in terms of habits, So you'll continue to track, and then you're just breezing through the holidays. And I mean, let's just talk about how much alcohol impacts us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you take that out of the equation over the holidays, it's like you don't have any problems.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you've reduced so many problems because that's such a trigger for like multiple other issues.
Right. Like, it's like, well, I've had, this much wine and I need to eat to kind of soak that up now,
Yeah.
Is the thing. So it's just like overeating the calories plus drinking the calories.
Oh man.
Yeah, I used to call that the layer of bread. You have to have the layer of bread before you start drinking the wine. It'll just absorb it all. It'll make it disappear.
Yeah, that layer of bread never helped me that
much. But even past Christmas mornings, like pre TSL, Christmas mornings, when my twins are 13 years old now, so they're out of the Santa phase. But before, we would wake up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning so they can open their presents, and I would have a bottle of Prosecco and my orange juice, and I would just start drinking mimosas.
Yeah.
All day. Yep.
Yeah.
All day, all morning, all morning. I will start at 5 o'clock in the morning with the mimosas, because that was just my little tradition, until like maybe lunchtime, and then the bottle of wine will come out, but that hasn't happened in, a few years now. So Christmas morning is.
Yeah, it's so wild. That's
right?
So wild. Yeah, we're not really doing the drinking thing it's just sort of naturally, Jack doesn't drink. I may have have a glass of wine on occasion here and there, but it is kind of lost on me, we may have really good wine with dinner, but it's just going to be one glass. But yeah, like same thing, like Sunday fun day, starting with the, it's just so interesting how that, I couldn't do that if I tried now. I would be, I would have anxiety. I'd probably have like horrible, digestion issues. So it's a good thing. It's wreaks havoc now.
Yeah.
But
I think that's what like Joelle and I probably noticed is just at the, the same time ish, we stopped drinking alcohol, and just naturally we just feel better. We just feel better. And so it's like when we go out and we're with our other friends that have maybe like had a drink or something, there's been like, a thing where I've been like, gosh, Joelle, I really feel like, I might want like a glass of wine. And she's just like, like, no.
Because I know what will happen with us.
Right. Right.
No?
Right. And it's like, no, because it's just like, don't go back down there. Like, you don't need to have it. You're fine without it. You don't need to like sabotage all the success that you've had, like with your health. And it's so true. Like, I literally wasn't metabolizing it right anymore. Like, I think you had mentioned that.
Yeah. No, like, immediate hangover. Yeah. It just doesn't
like
feel good.
Pre-menopause. Yeah. It was just like, I would have like 1 or 2 glasses of wine and I would just be down, like just out and not feel good. I would have like heart racing issues and just, yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't hear from Michelle for like 3 days.
Yeah.
After
one of my good friends here is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of my good friends here she's in her late 30s, and the difference is it's like, she's like, you're going to have a glass of wine, and maybe I will, but I'm going to pay. And I'm looking at her and she's like, just have it, just have water around it, or just have it. And it's like, it's hard to explain how it just switches like that. Like, it used to be like that, but now it has to be so worth it, because you still get a little, you get a little response from it, but it's just it's so just taxing. Like, I even think of it as obviously because it's a depressant, I take that seriously now. Like, I don't even want to be triggering anxiety or, depression for that. Yeah. So anyway, I think we've, if anybody's on the cusp, know that it's highly worth it. I do think some people stop drinking expecting to lose a bunch of weight. That doesn't happen for everybody. I don't see everybody responding to that. And then I have a couple women who have been like, so what's the point? I'm like, yeah, I get that, but you're probably healthier, and it will give it time. Yeah. So as we wrap up, what do you think, what would you say to somebody who's, on this journey and isn't where they want to be yet?
Be patient.
Mm-hmm.
They just got to be patient with it. And, it sounds so redundant, but it's like, just, you've got to trust the process. And once you can fully trust the process and be patient with it and just follow what you have to do, follow the plan, and don't sway from the plan, like the discipline will come and the weight will fall off. Yeah. And, from there, it just everything kind of falls in line. And it could take a year. Like, it might not take, 8 weeks. I mean, I've seen people crush, like when they do the 8-week program or challenge or whatever, they crush it. But it's like, for me, for someone that was extremely inactive and did not have nutrition on point and didn't want to work out, none of that, it took a full solid year because I wanted to take my time. I wanted to learn each aspect of it, and I wanted it to work for me. So, I was very like a student of, the nutrition things that you would teach to, to us during your lives and things.
Yeah, definitely. Don't give up. I mean, bring a friend, like find an accountability friend, and say, hey, let's try this together and see what happens in 8 weeks or a year or whatever the timeline is. And when it comes to like going to a gym, if they're new to going to a gym and going, start with like a class, like that's what I did way back when. Like I would take like a body pump class, and I would, when it's just barbell and you just add on your weights and it's to music and it's just fun, or like, just like any kind of like, cardio class, spinning, or, just find a class that you like. And then, once you find what you like, then you can move out of that and take it into like the weight room.
Yeah. Just get in there, get some confidence built. I agree.
Yeah. And again, like
something
friends
you like. Yeah.
Friends definitely help. Like get a workout partner. I mean, I'm not really big on workout partners. I like just to be in the zone by myself, I just want to do it alone. I'll have Michelle next to me, like Michelle will be next to me, but we won't be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because we're just both in our zone. But it's always nice to have that someone there saying,
when
good
are
job,
you going?
Keep going, you got this. Or even like a spotter, someone to help you lift up that weight that you're.
Or something to say, add some weight.
Yeah,
pick up your weight.
You can do more.
Put that donut on.
I know. Put that donut on. I know. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you doing this and spending the time. And it's just good for people to hear, relatable stories from people who have done it, who are tackling this. So congratulations for all these years. It's like you can do it all on your own. I do think we need each other. There's definitely, I have accountability, in the group, myself, in the app, all of that holds me accountable, and knowing people are out there doing it too is super inspiring. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you guys for listening, and please rate the show, share the show, and reach out anytime for help.